Welcome to The Explainer, where today we're breaking down a college football matchup that tells two completely different stories, NC Central versus Southern University. So you see the final score, 31-14, NC Central gets the win. But trust me, that number, it doesn't even begin to tell you what really happened in this game.
I mean, how does a game that's a total nail-biter at the half end up looking like a blowout? What on earth happened in that second half? Well, that's what we're going to figure out. Let's get into it.
Okay, so let's set the scene. The first half was just a firefight. I mean, both offenses were on fire, trading these huge, explosive plays. It was back and forth, super close. So when they went into the locker room at halftime, man, you could just feel it. It was anybody's ballgame. A tiny 3-point lead for NC Central. Everyone was strapped in for a wild second half. And this timeline, it really shows you the absolute chaos of that first half. You see NC Central grinds out a tough touchdown, and then, boom, Southern hits right back with a massive 69-yard run. It was this amazing clash of styles, right? You had NC Central's methodical drives versus Southern's pure mayhem. It was so much fun to watch. But then, the teams come out for the second half, and everything changed. Seriously, the third quarter wasn't just a little momentum shift, it's where the whole script of this game got completely flipped. 14-0. That was the score in the third quarter. NC Central just put their foot on the gas and took complete control. And all those fireworks we saw from Southern in the first half, poof, they just vanished. In this drive chart shows you exactly how it went down. Look at this. Southern comes out of the locker room, punt. 3 plays, 4 yards. NC Central gets it, touchdown. Okay, Southern gets another shot, and they go backwards. A 3-and-out with negative yards. What does NC Central do? They just calmly drive down and score another touchdown. I mean, in the span of just 4 possessions, this game was basically put on ice. So you gotta be asking, right? How does a team just fall apart like that? Well, when you dig into the stats, the why becomes pretty clear. The box score tells a really interesting story. It all starts with this one simple, absolutely brutal stat, time of possession. NC Central had the ball for more than 10 minutes longer than Southern did. Think about that. That means their offense is on the field, your defense is getting tired, and your own explosive offense, they're just standing on the sideline, getting cold. And how do you control the clock like that? It comes down to third down. This is where the game was won. NC Central converted on almost half of their third downs. They just kept moving the chains, kept those drives alive. Meanwhile, Southern, they only converted 2 out of 10 times. That is a drive killer, and it's exactly why we saw all those punts in the third quarter. But if you're looking for the real knockout punch, it's right here. Red zone efficiency. When NC Central got close to the end zone, they scored 80% of the time, 4 scores in 5 chances. Southern got down there once, just once, and walked away with absolutely nothing. That's the ball game, right there. Just a huge difference in execution. Okay, now this is where it gets really interesting. You'd think with a score like that, one team just dominated in total yards, right? But look, Southern actually had more rushing yards. Why? Because of those couple of huge, explosive TD runs. But that's not a sustainable way to win. NC Central's balanced attack with a really solid passing game gave them more total yards and, crucially, way more consistency. And of course, stats like these don't just magically appear on a spreadsheet. They happen because certain players step up and just take over the game.
For NC Central, the engine was running back Chris Mosley.
And what an engine he was. This guy was an absolute monster, 174 yards and a touchdown. And look at that average, almost 12 yards every single time he touched the ball. Just incredible.
But a great running back needs a great quarterback to run the show. And for NC Central, Walker Harris was the definition of efficiency.
I mean, look at this stat line, 19 of 24. That's almost 80% completion. 183 yards, a touchdown. But the most beautiful number on this entire screen is that big fat 0. 0 interceptions. He didn't make mistakes. He was the perfect, steady hand guiding that offense.
Now, on the other side of the ball, Southern's offense was a completely different story. They lived and died by the home run. And don't get me wrong, their guys were electric. Trey and Cam'Ron McCoy, wow, they combined for over 200 yards. But look closer. Their 2 touchdowns came on an 80-yard run and a 69-yard run. That tells you everything, right? They were incredibly dangerous, but they had no other way to score.
They were completely reliant on those massive, game-breaking plays.
So what's the big takeaway here? This game really boils down to one simple idea. Pure explosiveness is thrilling to watch, but it's not always sustainable. It was NC Central's efficiency, their ability to sustain drives, and that absolutely dominant third quarter that ground out a decisive, well-earned win. And that leaves us with one last question to chew on. Was this just a one-off performance, or is this the blueprint for NC Central's entire season? Can they win by controlling the clock, owning third down, and just playing smart, mistake-free football week in and week out? We'll have to wait and see.